I am Rajesh Tangella, EEE Department, Vignan Nirla College. Now, in the last lecture, I explained about the performance of short transmission lines. In this lecture, I am going to explain about performance of medium transmission lines, which is the unit 2 of power systems 2. So, medium transmission lines means generally we are having two approaches here, which are the means we are having two configurations. One is nominal T and nominal pi. Before that, let us see what is medium transmission line. Line voltage is moderately high for medium transmission lines, which is in between short and long transmission line. It is greater than 20 kV and less than 100 kV, between 20 kV to 100 kV. And the length of the line is about 50 kilometers to 150 kilometers. And the capacitance is significant. Here we are taking capacitance effect into consideration, whereas in case of short transmission line, it is being neglected. And because as the length is being increased, the charging current will be significant, so that the capacitance should be taken into consideration, and the effect of shunt capacitance becomes more and more pronounced with the increase in the length of the line. And for medium transmission lines, here we are having different approaches. I already told you, based on the location of taking this capacitance into account, these are characterized as three types. One is end condenser method, second one is nominal T method, and third one is nominal pi method. So these three are the approaches which are for medium analysis of medium transmission lines, which are taken only based on the localization of this capacitance into consideration. Now let us see the first one, end condenser method. In case of end condenser method, here the total capacitance of the transmission line which is taken at the receiving end, which is taken at the load side. So this is being total capacitance is being localized at the receiving end in case of end condenser method. The name itself says end condenser, means total capacitance will be taken at the end side, means the receiving end side. See the transmission line which is Vs is the sending end voltage, Is the sending end current, R is the total resistance, XL is the total reactance, and C is the shunt capacitance, and Vr is the receiving end voltage, Ic is the charging current, means current flowing through capacitance, and Ir is the receiving end current, and cos pi r is the receiving end power factor. If you see the analysis for end condenser method, from the circuit, if you draw the diagram, see here Vr is taken as reference. Here see the phasor diagram. First Vr is taken as reference, which is OA. If you apply KVL, then your Vs will be equals to, see the equivalent circuit, your Vs equals to that voltage at the receiving end plus drop across the line, Vr plus Is into Z. So for Vr we need to add Is into Z. Is into Z means Is into R plus J Is into XL. So here Is is the sum of, here Is is the sum of, see the equivalent circuit, Is is the sum of Ic plus Ir. So applying KCL, which gives Is equals to Ic plus Ir. So how to get this Ic? Ic is the current flowing through capacitance, and voltage across the capacitance is that receiving end voltage Vr. So your Ic will be leading with respect to voltage across capacitance, that is Vr by 90. But to the point of IR, we need to add IC, so that we will be getting the IS, because IS is the sum of IR plus IC. So first we need to draw IR. So total procedure is, first Vr is taken as reference, that is OA, and here we are taking the load is of lagging load, that is why IR is lagging with respect to Vr by phi r. See the phasor diagram. Now from the point of IR, tip of IR, I need to add IC, I need to draw IC. So Ic is the current flowing through capacitance, and Vr is the voltage across capacitance, so that Ic leads with respect to Vr by 90. That is why from the tip of, see the phasor diagram, from the tip of IR I am drawing Ic, so which is in upward, that means which leads with respect to Vr by 90. Now by adding this IR plus Ic, I will be getting Is, which is the sum of IR and Ic. Now after drawing Is, from the tip of Vr, I can draw Is into R. So Is into R is the resistor drop, which will be in phase with Is, and I need to draw Is into XL, so that Is into XL is the reactive drop, which should lead with respect to current, that is Is by 90. That is why Is into XL is drawn upward. Now by adding this Vr, see Vr plus Is into R plus Is into XL, total gives Vs. In this way, we can draw the phasor diagram for end condenser method. The phase angle difference between Vs and Is is phi s. Vr is taken as reference. Load current is IR equals to IR into cos phi r minus J sin phi r, which is written in rectangular form, and IC equals to V by impedance, which can also be written as V into admittance. So voltage across that is VR, so VR into J omega C, and Is equals to IR plus IC, which is obtained by applying KCL. And now by putting that IR and IC expressions, we will be getting the equation for Is, and voltage drop across per phase is Is into Z. So total current flowing through line is Is into Z, and sending end voltage is Vs equals to Vr plus Is into Z. So Vr plus Is into Z means R plus JXL. After getting all this, we can get the voltage regulation as Vs minus Vr by Vr into 100. And the transmission efficiency is Vr IR cos phi r receiving end power by Vr IR cos phi r receiving end power plus losses. Losses means Is square into R. It is of single phase analysis. If it is taken as 3 phase, we need to multiply by 3. Now, what are the limitations for end condenser method means? Of course, it is very simple to work out the calculations, but what are the drawbacks in case of end condenser method are, there is a considerable error, that is about 10% in calculations, because the distributed capacitance has been assumed to be lumped or concentrated. Actually, the charging capacitance will be distributed throughout the length of the transmission line, but we are taking it as a lumped parameter at a particular location. So that is why obviously the deviations may occur while going to practical cases, which is about 10%, which creates about 10% error, and this method overestimates the effects of line capacitance. Here overestimation means actually at the receiving end side it will be having a very low, obviously a normal capacitance value which will be acting at that location, but here we are taking the total capacitance of the line at the receiving end. Actually there it should be having a normal value, but as we are taking the total capacitance at the receiving end, there it is overestimating the capacitance effect, which which will overestimate the effects of capacitance at the receiving end. So these two are the drawbacks for end condenser method. If you take up an example based on this end condenser method, a medium single phase transmission line of 100 km long has the following constants, which are given as resistance per kilometer is 0.25 ohms, and in reactance per kilometer is 0.8 ohms, susceptance per kilometer is 14 into 10 power minus 6 Siemens, and receiving end voltage is given as 66,000 volts. Assuming that the total capacitance is located at the receiving end, so that means end condenser method is used. Determine the sending end current Is and sending end voltage Vs, and voltage regulation and supply power factor, that is cos phi s. The line is delivering 15,000 kilowatts, means receiving end power is given, and receiving end power factor is given, which is 0.8 lagging. Draw the phasor diagram to illustrate the calculations. See here, these are the given parameters. Total resistance is given. Of course, resistance per kilometer is given, but we need to find the total resistance of the line. So resistance per kilometer is given as 0.25 ohms, but the length of the transmission line is 100 kilometers. So into 100 gives the total resistance. In the same way, reactance per kilometer is given, into 100 gives the total reactance of 80 ohms, and the total susceptance is into 100 gives the total susceptance, that is 14 into 10 power minus 4 Siemens. As receiving end voltage is given, Vr equals to 66,000 volts. We can calculate the current by taking Vr by Vr cos phi r. Vr means receiving end power by Vr means receiving end voltage into cos phi r. So which gives 284 amperes. By using cos phi r, we can find the sin phi r as 0.6. Now the receiving end voltage is taken as reference for calculations. Vr equals to Vr plus J0, 66,000 volts. Now IR will be IR cos phi r minus J sin phi r. IR means that 284 into 0.8 minus J 0.6, which is obtained as 227 minus J 170. Now if you find out the capacitive current flowing through capacitance charging current is IC equals to J V into YR. So J Y into Vr. We can take the voltage by impedance, or we can take the voltage into admittance. So J Y into Vr, J into susceptance 14 into 10 power minus 4 into Vr is 66,000. From this we can get it as J 92 amperes. From this sending end current IS equals to IR plus IC. IR is 227 minus J170 plus IC is J92. From this we can get the sending end current as 227 minus J78 amperes. So from this we can calculate the magnitude of current, which is 240 amperes. And now voltage drop is IS into Z. IS is obtained as 227 minus J78 into Z is given as 25 plus J80. From this we can get the voltage drop as 11,915 plus J 16,210. Now sending end voltage Vs equals to VR plus IR into Z. IS into Z. So VR is given as 66,000. Just now we got the IR into Z. So adding these two gives Vs as sending end voltage as 77,915 plus J 16,210. If you find out the magnitude, which will be 79,583 volts. After getting this, we can get the voltage regulation, which is Vs minus VR by VR into 100. 79,583 minus 66,000 by 66,000 into 100. So which will be 20.58%. Now, from the phasor diagram, we can get that theta 1, which is the phase angle difference between VR and IR as tan inverse minus 78 by 227, where this 78 is nothing but, see here, this 78 is nothing but the imaginary component of IS and 227 is nothing but real component of IS. So by taking this we can get the theta 1, and if you take the tan inverse of imaginary component of Vs by real component of Vs, we can get the theta 2. From these theta 1 and theta 2 we can get the sending end power factor angle as phi s equals to theta 1 plus theta 2. So which will be equals to 30.46 degrees. This is one method of finding the sending end power factor angle. Of course, you can find the sending end power factor angle by simply taking the phase angle difference between that Vs and Is polar forms. In that way also we can get the sending end power factor angle. After getting this, by taking cos phi s, we can easily get the sending end power factor as 0.86 lagging. Here students can be asked to tell about what are the limitations of end condenser method. There are two limitations, so which needs to be answered. Thank you.